Well,
Oh, then.
well then,
Look at it. Just look at it.
would you?
We are
just-
streaming.
hello, internet. Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at it?
And by it, I mean all of the live streaming platforms from which we are showing. Do you have the chat stuff that pops up in the video feed, Ervin?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I usually like kind of check that during the show to see if anybody said anything.
Yep. So it's in the video, so if people are saying stuff, it'll show up.
Wow.
Magic.
All you need is magic.
Put out with a little
Is that a...
internet.
What is that? Oh. Is that a reflection?
That little thing? Yeah, it
on
looks
my
like
face.
looks like a reflection from your lamp.
Oh,
I believe
damn it.
it's called a hand.
I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure if it was on just my monitor or not. So
Turn off the bedroom lamp.
You got it, turning the bedside lamp off.
hey,
Oh,
Hey!
laziness at its finest.
I can't reach that far. It's too far. I can't reach. Oh.
Just broadcast your smart home to the internet live.
Boys.
We them boys of I40. That never fails to put a smile on my face.
I love it.
Never fails.
I wish there wasn't copyright infringement so I could share it publicly.
Well, I think if the clip is shorter than 10 seconds, you can use Creative Commons licensing or something like that.
Oh, sweet. Let me just trim it by 4 seconds.
Hello, Goblin of Peace. Yes, this is live.
What's up, Goblin?
Goblin. He's watching on Periscope.
Nice. Welcome.
Welcome to the internet.
Welcome.
I'm ready to get started whenever y'all
Let's do it.
are.
Let's do it to it.
Do we shall we do the old Facebook postery now? I can do it.
Okay.
I'll just basically just copy and paste the same article or the same thing the last time we did it because I had all the links there.
Goblin of
Post-
Peace, tell your friends.
What?
The viewers. Goblin of Peace, our live viewer. I said invite your friends.
Join the I40 party.
Yeah. Like, follow, review. See what you think. Just 3 wild and crazy guys on a Sunday morning.
Talk about tech news.
Bunch of crazy dudes.
Bunch of Ponzi schemes.
You are not wrong.
Alrighty then. Well, we do a sound check. You want to just dive in?
Hold. Wait, does the link not work?
What link?
I didn't like refresh the thumbnail when I copy and pasted it from the old Facebook post. So, if you'll bear with me here for one moment, I just have
I will
to.
not.
Oh, well. Oh, look, it did it! Hooray! Okay, so I'm gonna publish this right now.
Cool.
Publish. What? Jobs? No, this is a regular post. This isn't a job posting.
What are you doing?
Facebook's like, look, you can now post as job postings instead of just normal postings. And I'm just like, no, thank you. This isn't a job listing. We're not hiring right now.
Not right now.
Check back in later.
Cool. Great.
Okay, well, I'm ready to go.
Am I missing any links?
I'm recording. I'm streaming. I'm good.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Just kidding. Don't do
I'm putting the Twitch video down in my lower third, despite the fact that I do not have a lower third. Cool. Yeah, so no deep dive this week, right?
No.
Just okay. I don't want to force one if we don't have one.
BGR. Damn it.
What?
BGR is the worst.
Yeah, they can be, but
No,
you know.
they are.
Why?
Because
Why?
every single title of them if theirs is clickbait. And their content is dumb.
I mean, this article was fine. This isn't really clickbaity. It's just it's a fact.
All right. Well, with that fact,
You know what? There's another fact, and that fact is that we'll be starting very shortly.
You mean now?
Yes. By very shortly, I mean now. Right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and start it then.
Okay.
Ooh, we got a Harjo in the audience.
Whoa.
What's up, Harjo?
Hey.
In case you missed it, we done boys at 540. Okay. Matt Slevin, you ready?
I am.
Welcome to iFollow.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 35 of I4O. We have a lot of news today and not a full party. I'm joined today by Ervin and Jeff, both of which are featuring lower thirds that I am not featuring. What's going on, guys?
Hey, Matt. Good morning.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying my lower third on this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could be in that. I'm currently coming to you guys from Internet Explorer.
Ooh.
So,
now.
oh man, it's a throwback. That if only it was a Thursday. But so we have a lot of news. There's quite a bit of stuff to cover today. There's some information about a OnePlus hack that happened this week. Other news, water is wet. Bitconnect was accused of a Ponzi scheme, and YouTube has made some updates to its partner program on top of some other exciting news that we have for you guys. So to jump straight into the first topic, OnePlus has revealed the credit card details of 40,000 customers that were hacked last week. So it was through their online store is where this breach happened, and the data stolen includes credit card numbers, expiration dates, and security codes. And this is a pretty big mistake on OnePlus's end, considering this breach was, I'm pretty sure this was they didn't find this for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's not a good look for OnePlus.
So the information that was used anywhere between mid-November 2017 and January 11, 2018 was about those 40,000 customers. So if you bought a OnePlus phone or bought anything on OnePlus's website during that time, please cancel your credit card that you used and get a new number. Also, yeah, just don't do any more business with OnePlus.
Well, that's for users who were new users during that period.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, because if you had a saved credit card already or were using PayPal, your information was not compromised. According to this release. Yeah.
So yeah, this just adds another on top of other OnePlus's little mishaps that they had throughout the year last year, which were quite a bit. And I mean, it happens, right? You can't. Hackers will your target. OnePlus is a fairly big company. It's popular amongst especially enthusiasts. I don't know if regular people know about OnePlus that much, but enthusiast users are definitely a fan of OnePlus. And that's the only way to pretty much get their phone in the US is online. You have to buy it online. So
the good news is that unlike Equifax, they offer a year of free credit protection as a result of this hack instead of selling their own credit protection service. So that's a positive that comes out of this. So anybody who was impacted, I'm sure that you were notified, and also you will be getting a year of free credit protection. So maybe it's not all doom and gloom, but unfortunately this is kind of the par for the course on how these breaches get fixed. They it's kind of a reactive thing. And we've talked about that on previous episodes. And while it's not good, it's the world we live in. And we are going to see probably all throughout 2018 companies that have breaches like this. Hopefully not much worse, but it seems that reactive is currently the only solution that we have to these types of breaches, and trying to cover ground as best as they can.
I'm wondering if there's going to be any improvement to how these hacks and the loss of payment information, things of that nature, are handled, as opposed to just being notified, hey, you've been compromised, or you should cancel your card. If there's anything else they can do, maybe to target, like find the people who do it more quickly, or if there's something where maybe they can just catch a bogus transaction right away. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some kind of there's some security methods that are in place for most online retail sites that have gone through this, but I'm assuming that just OnePlus's online retail may have been, I think there's even some template code almost you can use for transactions, and maybe OnePlus's was built from the ground up or something. So it just goes to show that doing your research when building an online market it pays, both literally and metaphorically. But yeah, so the root of the hack was just a browser breach. So a tiny snippet of code placed in the right place on OnePlus's website could capture all relevant credit card information. So I would imagine that this could have been done through a fraudulent link or something like that, or a malformed web page. But that is the explanation as to why only users who entered a new number into OnePlus's system during that time were affected, not users who had saved information. So I think that's a good clarification to make.
Yeah, so wasn't direct access to their servers where they stored that information.
Yeah.
Which was probably encrypted anyway, so I don't know how useful that those numbers would have been. So again, it's a good clarification.
Yeah, you know what else is a good clarification? Amazon narrowing down to 20 cities. So they've taken their list of cities from around the United States, and they have narrowed it down to a list of 20 cities. So I'm curious as to where you guys think, and I know we may be a little bit biased since Philadelphia is still on that list, but I'm curious as to your thoughts on where you think that this new headquarters will end up.
Also, little background, like, why are we talking about Amazon choosing a headquarters? Why do we care?
Right.
Right. Like, it's been in the news. Yeah, it's been in the news. Like, it was huge, that huge announcement a couple months back that Amazon announced that they're looking to expand, to open up a second headquarters, the first one they have in Seattle. So they're looking to expand. And the reason that this is making news every time they announce something about this is because it's going to change the city that it goes to. I've read some interviews from people who live in Seattle from the beginning, before Amazon wasn't even a thing, and they said it transformed that city. And this HQ2 is expected to bring up to 50,000 high-paying jobs, which is fairly significant. That'll definitely transform a city. So that's the reason that a lot of cities also applied to be on this list, of potentially on this list of a finalist. It looks like around 238 cities and regions applied to be in the running, and then they just released the top 20. I just wanted to give a little background on why we are actually talking about a company looking for headquarters, right? Typically wouldn't make a news. But
no, this definitely will change the landscape of any city that they pick fundamentally. And there's several really compelling choices within this. And just to kind of go on with this, I feel like their pick is going to be Atlanta. Mostly because Atlanta I've heard it referred to as the San Francisco of the East Coast in a way. It's very up and coming, and there's a big tech hub in that city. And I think that it would behoove Amazon to take advantage of that new up and coming tech scene there, and take advantage of all of the development talent that's going on down that way. So that would be my guess. I noticed that they have still included Toronto, which is outside the United States. That would be an interesting choice as well. But To me, it's either Atlanta or maybe DC, just so they can get into Washington a little bit more. But I'm curious as to what you guys might think for where they may end up.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the DC one is that there's 3 different areas around the DC area that are in this list. So they have Northern Virginia, DC itself, and which one was the last one? I forget.
I'm not sure.
Maryland. I think.
Okay.
Right. So it's all around.
Yeah, Montgomery County.
Yeah. So it's all around 3 fairly close to DC and 1 actually in DC. The interesting note about this is there's only 1 West Coast city, which is Los Angeles. I think, yeah, it was Los Angeles. So they're really looking, I think, to go on the either towards, because I know Colorado's in this list, so they might go to the middle of the country. In my opinion, Colorado's in the high running.
No pun intended.
Oh, wait, wasn't not intentional. That makes it even better that it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Colorado, because there's huge investment going on around there, and it seems like it would fit with that town for whatever reason.
There's more than just geographical influence that goes into this too. And I know you guys are talking about DC and influence there, but I think also they're considering the pools of talent that could come to them as a result of what if you were to choose somewhere like Los Angeles or New York, there's a lot of people with like very high education levels. I know that there's a lot of talent there in general because of the different companies that are already competing in those areas. Also, you could think about things like locale, what would bring people there because they'd be okay with living in that area. So if you look at somewhere like Miami, maybe, if you want a nice tropical environment, so to speak, to live in for your job, maybe that would be a good choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead right now, and I am totally biased in this opinion, but I'm picking Newark.
Newark. Well, Newark could also make sense because that's where Audible is headquartered.
Well, so not only that, but also, I mean, really, if you think about it, that is very close to 3 other big cities.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, New York, and Washington. If you were talking about the pools of talent in that area, New Jersey, say what you will about it, but it is right smack in the middle of all of that.
Yeah. The infrastructure's there, and it's got the real estate for sure. So I could definitely see that. But I don't know if they're going to double down on the West Coast. I think that if they narrow this list down any further, I'm pretty sure that LA is going to drop off that list.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to deal with Washington and California taxes on top of everything. Even with the subsidies, it'll still be more expensive in the end than, say, like Philadelphia or Atlanta or Newark.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I'm hopeful for Philly, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But my guess is Atlanta. So we'll come back to this when they finally do announce and see what everybody's choice is.
Yeah, and in our show notes, you'll see links to some articles. There's some information that was provided by the New York Times here as to what each city kind of brings to the table. So if you're curious, you can take a look at that.
I'll see if I can find it too. And I remember there was a link that I had found previously. It may even be in an earlier set of show notes, but there was like the intro videos or the pitch videos that each city had created and sent to Amazon in the hopes of being selected. And that was kind of interesting to go through and watch each city's like pitch to Amazon.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting too, just to see a city present itself, like what's good about us. That's interesting. Like, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that and put it in the show notes after the show. So, but moving on to other news, this one really kind of irked me in the wrong way. BMW is going to be charging an annual fee for Apple CarPlay. That's not right. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
What?
They're doing a upfront charge in order to unlock support for Apple CarPlay, which if many people who have used either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay know, comes from an app on your phone and not from any just software support on the car. So this is a way of making your smartphone more hands-off by enabling navigation of only like music-based apps and GPS apps and basic voice-controlled messaging services. And it enables a hands-free car experience for your phone. And I know even at least in CarPlay, I'm pretty sure that it disables some notifications. Like it filters out any unimportant notifications to lessen your distractions while driving. Yeah. And if that's the case, this is technically a safety feature. And I think there's something fundamentally wrong with a car company trying to double down and profit off of something that can be viewed as a safety feature.
And it's not that, I mean, so previously to this, they were charging I think it was $250 to add this feature, right? Which is very common on car, like to add Android Auto because it's a tech package upgrade. That's fine. $250 charge to add a tech package that gives you the ability to use the Android Auto or Apple's CarPlay, which is fine because it does take development time, right? It does take a cost to actually make it work in your car. But they're getting away from that one-time fee, and they're making you pay for this monthly, which is just insane. Like, I'll pay the one time. Like, why are you charging me a monthly fee or an annual fee?
This isn't Sirius XM. This is something that can be much more substantial for the average car user. And I feel like they're trying to get onto this increase in trends of subscription-based services. And they think that this is just something that people might view as a nice to have, when in actuality, this, at least for me, this was part of my purchasing decision when getting a car. I wanted something that had Android Auto and Apple CarPlay purely because, one, I could go between iPhone and Android should I want to, and two, it's a safety feature that I don't have to worry about dealing with a car's out-of-date GPS sending me down the wrong way. It's constantly updated through Google Maps. It's charging my phone, so that way my phone is charged whenever I get to where I'm going. I can control text through voice instead of having to fibble around the phone if I get like an emergency call and I have to answer it or something like that. It's safer, and I think it's dangerous and I really hope that the industry does respond to this in a bad way.
Yeah. The first year is free, so they won't charge you the first year of that car, but anything after that, it'll be an $80 annual privilege to access Apple's total free CarPlay service.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I guess, car makers trying to squeeze extra. I mean, it's $80. It's not a huge amount. Like, why can't they just stick with I think previously it mentions that it was a $300 one-time fee to add this feature on previous BMW models.
Yeah.
I don't know why they couldn't stick with that. What was the reasoning? I don't think. I'm not sure what was BMW's response to this. But I don't want DLCs for my car.
No. Yeah, this your BMW, not EA.
I don't really understand why they would do this. And also, if it starts here, where does it end?
Right, exactly. And people should not sign up for this service if they... I mean, like, sure, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, they're great services and they work really well, but I think that kind of bending to this model doesn't bode well for the industry when someone should be sending in any kind of, I don't know, right to your local BMW representative and let them know your opinion and your feelings. But I think it's ridiculous that this is what we've come to with subscription services, where these companies are trying to grab for money as much as they can. Take the year lease on a BMW and then just get rid of the car. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. If you're looking for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, don't go BMW. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I don't think BMW even has Android Auto.
Yeah.
Because according to BMW, Android Auto collects way too much information about the car, and they don't want to give that to Google.
Yeah.
But that's a completely separate story.
Yeah, that's a whole different article for a different day.
For a different day.
Yeah, but something else that happened on a different day. On top of terrible segues, there was the Bitcoin crash that happened this past week. I know you guys have at least Jeff have some investments in coin. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the crash and also subsequent rebound of Bitcoin and all of the minor altcoins.
Yeah, so it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, as you might expect. I mean, depending on when you and I'm not going to disclose any personal information in this discussion, but
entirely valid.
Depending on when you invest or have invested in this, you might not be sweating it so much, which is the case with a lot of people. But if you were late to join, so to speak, you could be down quite a bit of money, or wondering if it's going to follow similar trends of other years. I've seen a lot of links and discussions of charts, line graphs, showing that this is kind of the trend every year, that it takes a huge dip and then rises back up gradually through the year and spikes in a new year, then drops again. Really, it depends on what the root cause of this is that will determine whether or not it happens again, in my opinion. Another concept that's been floating around is what are called whales in this market, which are people who have a lot of money invested and thus a lot of influence on the valuation of these various coins, who will buy them up so that their value goes up, and then you have all these other people following suit, so the value goes up to a ridiculously high amount. Then they sell all theirs, the value deflates, and then everyone sells theirs because they're scared, and then it's worth a lot less, and those same investors buy it on the cheap again and just keep returning pretty insane profits and repeating the process, because why wouldn't you? They would use bots to do that. And there's a lot of regulation that's in Wall Street that isn't here that lets them do that kind of thing. And so that's been the buzz.
Yeah. And kind of looking at the bigger picture, kind of what you hinted at towards the beginning of what you were saying. When you look at it from the bigger picture, Bitcoin had dropped back down to what it was only a month ago. So if that goes to show anything, it's more of a correction than a crash. Yeah. So I think that it's not all doom and gloom for coin. And we've seen that towards the end of this week, coming up to today, even where Ethereum and some of the major coins have rebounded upwards of 10% of their value in the span of one day. So I think that it's safe to say that it wasn't the end of the world, as some people had said. Like, I know even some of the cryptocurrency subreddits, their top post was the National Suicide Hotline.
Yes.
And like, no amount of investment should ever be that serious for anybody. And anybody who does invest a lot of money, you should know what you're getting into before you do that. And I'm not trying to make fun of people who would be taking advantage of that kind of a service, but getting yourself in that deep is you should take a step back and look at what you're doing before that becomes an option if something like this happens, because a deregulated market behaving in a deregulated manner is entirely normal and expected.
Yeah, and it's scary because it's a rush, right? So it's kind of like gambling, like where you're putting in this money. If you took out a home mortgage or whatever kind of loan at a large value when the coin was at nearly $20,000 a month ago and put all of the money into it, you're probably pretty freaked out right now. And that was a pretty debatable decision. You just need to, I think in general, you need to approach this delicately and really think about what you're doing.
I have one thing to say. Just hodl.
For those of you who aren't familiar with what Ervin just said, this isn't a Game of Thrones reference, nor the word hold, but it's a misspelling of the word hold that happened. Was it on Reddit or 4chan when that happened?
I probably read it, I think.
But Yeah, a Reddit user or a user of the internet-based meme distribution services was drunk and was yelling in all caps to hold on to the coin, and he spelled hold wrong, and it was HODL. So now it's become a bit of a mantra for the cryptocurrency subreddits to yell that whenever a value drops on any of the coins by any large margin. And people have even expanded on it to make it its own acronyms, such as "Hold On for Dear Life" and "Hold On, Don't." And what if there's another one? It says "Hold On, Don't Lose" or "Don't
Let Go" or
Let Go. Yeah. So that's where that comes from for anybody who hasn't heard of that acronym before. But yes, HODL indeed.
I mean, yeah, this growth that has happened in the past, let's say 2 months, wasn't sustainable. So I was expecting this to happen. And I think, yeah, this is just the market trying to correct itself. There's been dips before within the price, and this crazy ride that has happened for the past couple months, there's been dips in that as well. And I think if people just hold out and not freak out, because I watched several YouTube videos where these guys were investing hundreds of thousands of dollars of money into different coins, not just Bitcoin, and riding this wave. And they were saying that they freaked out like as soon as this drop happened, and they're just selling. And I would just hold on, because this is a volatile market, right? This is gonna happen. This is not regulated stuff, and it's just expected. I have no skin in the game at all. I stayed away from it, but it's fun to watch for sure. And I'm intrigued of what's gonna happen in the future. Some say it's gonna hit $50,000 at one point, 100,000. I'm very skeptical on that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I went into I am in, I guess you could call it invested in the market, as in I bought some crypto coin back in fall. I bought Ethereum, but I wouldn't necessarily call it invested. I merely did that as a marker to just kind of give myself an incentive to watch the market and see what this new technology is. And while it's been going up and down, I plan on hodling until 5 years down the line. It's mostly just something for me to see the market and watch it go up and down and see where this technology goes, because it does have a lot of potential. And there have been other related news that has come out, such as I think Canada has picked up the smart contracting technology behind Ethereum and is now using that for some actual services. And I know there have been some backlash, and I think partially the cause of this was South Korea announcing their attempt to ban cryptocurrency trading within the country. That could explain a bit of this. And like you're saying, Jeff, about the whales, there has been some evidence, such as on the crypto distribution, I think it's Bitfinex, of actual buyer manipulation of the value of coins. So there is evidence of that, but a deregulated market's going to deregulate. And like you said it, I couldn't say it better myself, the way that you worded it. A coin or a market that doesn't have the same regulations in place as, say, like the stock market, this stuff is going to happen all the time. So whether it's on a large scale or a small scale is to be said, but it's definitely something I think that I could see going forward with the market. So even if the trend down the line is only going up, which a lot of people seem optimistic about 2018 for cryptocurrency. So
I think one thing that'll be interesting to see is the peaks and valleys and the rise and fall of crypto experts, because it seems that there are way more now than there were 2 months ago.
Right. And yeah, exactly. And we're seeing also a massive increase in mining too. So hopefully we'll see that kind of taper out as people decide to get out of the game, because you're going to get people who go into mining who don't really know what they're doing or don't do the research, and inevitably end up redistributing their graphics cards or their hardware back into the market. So,
and we've seen that happen before with the value of coins going up and down. But think another thing is when you're talking about altcoins is the validity of those and the technology behind them, and whether or not they're there to provide a service or improve the world in some way, or just to kind of scheme people out of money. I know that there's an article, there's news to talk about this week with Bitconnect.
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 And for anybody who hasn't seen, there's a video in this article that it had us in tears. I'll put that on the Facebook page so people can enjoy that.
Let me send it to Twitch and YouTube right now. How about that?
Yeah, but what we're talking about is the coin, Bitconnect coin, has been accused of basically being a Ponzi scheme. So, and the backlash from the community has been nothing but absolute savagery. So, a lot of people were skeptical about Bitconnect's services. So, the whole premise of their service was you send them Bitcoin in exchange for Bitconnect Bitcoin or Bitconnect coin. And once you had Bitconnect coin, you were guaranteed up to 120% return per year. And users were told that they were earning interest by holding onto their coin for helping maintain the security of the network. And this turned out to be a complete fraud. And there had been a lot of it's a Ponzi scheme at its purest form. So the coins were being redistributed to people within the network and earning them money, and then next thing you know, they kind of just made off with the money and ran. And you started to see accusations of a Ponzi scheme happen from all over the internet, and now we're seeing the value of their coin crash. The market valuation of their market cap has dropped substantially. They went from, I think they were at an all-time high of $437.31 per coin before it plummeted, and it is now around $35 at the time of this article being written. So this is a crash. What we saw last week with Bitcoin was not a crash. This is a crash, and the fact that this is still somehow trading is baffling, and it's absolutely mind-blowing that this is still trading.
There are some true believers out there, I guess.
They're really holding on to that video. They saw that and they were inspired. But yeah, it's the video that we're talking about is a very overdubbed video of a Bitconnect meetup, and it's fun. It's a fun watch. And
I know that we actually had a question in our YouTube stream from someone watching about whether or not Glenn Arcano has been arrested, or anyone involved with Bitconnect has been arrested. I was doing some digging as we were prepping for the show, and it seems like a couple of people have just dropped off the radar and disappeared.
Oh, nice.
It looks pretty bad. I'm curious to see if we hear any news of people actually getting held accountable for this in any way.
Yeah, and in this article, there's a screenshot of the front page of the Bitconnect subreddit, and I 100% agree. They said it's truly a sight to behold. There's there's a sticky thread for the legal action, the mega thread for legal action on their subreddit. There's another one that just says, "I'm sorry." There's the National Suicide Hotline, as we've seen in other subreddits. Yeah, it's the subreddit. It seems to be in a good state of affairs right now. Everything seems to be fine. This is fine. But yeah, this is what happens when you get caught running a Ponzi scheme through a cryptocurrency market. And as sad as it is to say, I don't think this is the end of these types of things happening. I'm pretty sure that we're going to see more and more of some of these fake vaporware coins and Ponzi scheme-esque behaviors from smaller coins. So if anything, if you are invested in the crypto market, take this as a warning from us to do your due diligence and your research before investing enough money to need a suicide hotline, should they come out as being a Ponzi scheme. So that's something that's important to note right there.
Do your due diligence, or you might be in some deep doo-doo.
Yes. Due diligence.
Dude.
But yeah.
Speaking of making money on the internet,
Here we go.
YouTube has updated their partner program to try to respond to concerns from the advertisers. This could be in response to certain videos that were made by certain famous YouTubers fairly recently. But from the look of it, it doesn't seem to affect them that much. It seems to affect smaller channels. So YouTube has had an option for creators to monetize their videos previously. They had to meet certain criteria, but now they have recently changed those requirements. They upped them. So this really sort of hurts smaller channels. But there's also arguments, which I'm going to throw out there in a little bit, that this really doesn't affect them that much because of that size. They weren't really actually making that much money. But so now YouTube had this also got a lot of attention in the YouTube community. I saw a lot of people posting about this and talking about how does it actually affect the YouTube creator space. But now for you to actually start monetizing your videos, you have to have 4,000 hours of video watch time total in the past 12 months, as well as 1,000 subscribers to be eligible to earn money from your YouTube views. Previously, the minimum threshold was 10,000 views, but YouTube said that that wasn't enough information to weed out any bad actors, like people trying to make a quick buck on, let's say if they re-upload a video, they steal someone's video and they re-upload it, and for some reason that re-upload gets viral, and before YouTube has a chance to take it down, there's ads shown on that and they get all that revenue. And now it should, in theory, like if you just create a brand new channel, if you don't have 1,000 subscribers, which is quite, I mean, it's quite a lot of work to get up to that point, you won't get any monetization from it. And it looks like it is trying to sort of protect the advertisers, because there's been several what they call adpocalypses happening on YouTube, where huge advertisers has been pulling out because of certain things that a select few YouTubers have put up, as well as the YouTube Kids fiasco that happened a couple months back, that uploaded these crazy videos that were shown to kids that were really not appropriate at all, and they were making loads of money because they were getting millions and millions of views on these videos. This really doesn't affect them either, because they had more than 1,000 subscribers. This doesn't affect the big guys at all, but it really, I think, hurts the smaller people. But some people, like I mentioned earlier on, the small guys who did previously meet these guidelines, the previous guidelines, a lot of YouTubers saying who know what type of money you can make on YouTube, they say that they were max getting like $100 a month, which is how much is that really affecting your money? Like I guess it depends on the money situation of that particular person who's uploading to YouTube, but
not enough to live off of.
Exactly. That's the argument that I've heard. So I just wanted to see what you guys I know I talked a lot, but
well, this may be a controversial opinion, but I think that any change to the advertising structure in order to combat something like this is going to impact smaller YouTubers at a much larger rate than the established channels. And while that's a negative side effect to this type of a change. I think it is a necessary one, like you said, because someone could just steal a video and re-upload it, profit off of it, or in the case of several YouTubers, upload a video with very controversial and inappropriate content and expose that to millions of people, and the advertising platforms may or may not support that type of a video or that type of content. So I think it is a good move. I want to see it implemented, and I want to see how this does impact the community. If you see a large drop off in some of the smaller channels, and if it's harder for someone to get started up on, say, YouTube in order to monetize their videos. But I think it is a relatively smart move, or it's not, a better word would be logical move for YouTube.
I want to make a correction to the numbers that I threw up. So according to YouTube, 99% of the existing creators affected by these changes have been making less than $100 per year, not per month.
Okay, that's even harder to make a living off of.
So that's been an argument. A lot of people, like, yeah, they see, okay, these people are freaking out, but like, how much money were you really making on YouTube? Because at that size, at those 1,000 viewers, you would think, 1,000 subscribers, you would think that you would make a good amount of money, but it wasn't. It's not. YouTube doesn't pay that well as people might think if you're small.
So I think this is even less impacting then as well. But on that note of on that certain YouTuber who created a certain video with certain content, it happened less than a week after they cut business ties with that YouTuber. And for anybody who's been living under a rock and deals with YouTube, it's Logan Paul is the person. I'm not going to specify exactly what happened, but he's no longer in the YouTube or in the Google preferred, and which is their preferred advertiser or preferred. Yeah, it's their preferred service for bigger YouTubers. But they said in a response that it was not related to that video, even though they have been making continuous updates to the platform in response to the concerns from advertisers. So take that with a grain of salt. Take it for what it is. It probably is in response, and it may not be directly tied to that video, but it definitely probably played a big part in pushing that decision forward faster than it would have normally gone through.
They did make a change sort of relating to what it is relating to Logan Paul's video. A change is that now that every partner or every YouTuber who is in the Google preferred ad program, every video that they now upload will be reviewed by human moderators before it is monetized. Okay. So previously it was done mostly by AI, and a lot of people have been raised like the saying that Google or YouTube's AI really sucks at identifying controversial videos, right? It would mark certain things just because you mentioned the word gun in your video, and like, oh, you're demonetized because you mentioned the word gun, or you say one curse word and it's immediately demonetized. So it's like really flaky, and now that they're actually putting actual humans to look at these videos and not relying on that AI, because I think YouTube wants to go that full route, having an AI figure out everything, because there's so much content uploaded to YouTube. It's literally impossible for a human to review every single one of them, which I understand. But I think keeping the YouTube preferred people, right, giving them an actual review, because they have so much influence on what they post, right? These YouTubers with the millions of followers, millions of subscribers, 5-10 million subscribers.
Is PewDiePie in the preferred?
No, he was removed because of his controversy, so he's no longer in the preferred.
I was going to say that would be a very stressful job for a person to have to watch all of PewDiePie's videos and find anything that may be potentially not proper behavior, because
I watched 2 recently, and now all I get is recommended is PewDiePie videos on YouTube. I was like, why? I watch just for curiosity, and I don't want to see anymore. Please, YouTube, stop.
That happens even if I watch like one music video, like at all, one time.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Now you're a Ariana Grande fan, Matt, because you watched one video.
I watched one video that has Ariana Grande as a feature, and now she's in my top 50 list. But yeah,
I don't know. In summation, I think this is. I didn't really interject yet, but I think that this is probably a good move. We'll see how it pans out, but I think that it pleases most parties involved. And I think those people, like you guys were saying, are making less than $100 a year. I don't think they're going to get hit too hard by this. It might change the community a little bit, but.
And there's other people have been suggesting, right? There's other ways to make money. You can do Patreon, right? So if you have the 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, if 10% of those give you $1 a week or $1 a month, that's $100 a month instead of $100 a year, right there. Mm-hmm. There's definitely other ways now to make money, probably more money than YouTube would offer. So there's definitely options for these smaller creators to still sort of make a couple extra bucks on the side, and while they're gaining or trying to grow their channel. So
exciting times to be a YouTuber if you're growing. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, I want to see it implemented because YouTube has done this before and things have been implemented rather poorly. Like the large swath of random videos or seemingly random videos that were demonetized over the past few months, almost at the point where it became a meme. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. And I wonder if this is going to impact things like Twitch and other streaming platforms. Push more people to that platform, I mean. Yeah. But yeah, in other news, Tim Cook was praising the corporate side of the Trump tax reform, saying that this is the 9to5 Mac article, saying that the iPhone won't get cheaper with the Apple's U.S. investments. So this comes on the heels of their major announcements to bring back a large sum of money, $250 billion, back to the United States. So I'm curious as to how this is going to impact because a lot of people are saying this could impact the price of an iPhone, and saying that it could lead to more expensive Apple products and a higher, as the running joke is, Apple tax on their products. Mm-hmm. But there's large parts of this that were as a result of the tax reform, and large parts which they had said that they're planning on doing anyway. So I'm not sure how beneficial this is going to be, but this tax bill does come with big benefits for large corporations such as Apple. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I hadn't done too much research into the tax reform, and I was wondering if maybe you had some information that I didn't know.
So I just want to give a little background on why this is important. So Apple has been holding a lot of money outside of the U.S.
Not hodling.
So any money that they have made outside of the U.S., they've pretty much been holding in certain regions of the world where it benefits them in a tax-free way, or very low corporate tax rates. And certain countries have those outside of the U.S. So that's where Apple has been holding quite a bit of money. And now with this new reform, the corporate the rate to re-import that money back into the U.S. has been made a lot cheaper. So now it's around 15% instead of, I think it was around 40 previously, to get that money back into the United States. So that now incentivizes Apple to bring back that money and hopefully reinvest it right in this economy, not just hold it offshores. And also Apple with this announced that they're going to give, because of this, $2,500 Apple stock incentives or bonuses to a majority of their Apple employees, which is nice because of this new tax bill. And they also announced that they're gonna expand to a new headquarters, or a second or third, whatever headquarters they're on now. Sort of like what Amazon is doing, but I don't think it's as big as their main one that they just built, the spaceship. So it should bring around 20,000 new jobs, according to Tim Cook when he did this interview. Like most people thought, this new tax reform is really affecting big corporations, right? They're favoring them, trying to bring a piece to them. I don't know if, Jeff, you have any other comments on this?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that the corporation side of this is Tim Cook's happy with that side, because I don't want to get deep into any views here, but the corporations sometimes not only get treated like people, but better than people. So that's all I have to say about this.
I mean, it's good to see they're putting the money back into their employees, but with a tax bill like this, it's gonna be on a company by company basis to decide on how that money is distributed. So I want to see the side effects of, say, other companies in the tech space, or even not even in the tech space, what they plan on doing with the benefits from the tax reform. And it's good to see that they are expanding and hiring more employees and offering more benefits and such. But yeah, I'm kind of holding my breath on before whether I praise this as a good thing for the economy or not, especially in the tech space, because it could have a major impact, or it could just kind of all be funneled around up to the top and stay there. So I'm curious to see how this develops, and I'm pretty sure we'll be reporting on this again down the line as we start to hear of what these other companies besides Apple are beginning to do as this plan rolls through. So it's something that we can definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah. Somewhat related to this, during the same interview this was discussed, I didn't put this in the show notes, but Tim Cook directly commented on the iPhone battery issues that recently has been made aware to people. So he said that in the new update, they're going to give the option to actually disable that reduction in performance if you're affected by a poor battery. So if you want to deal with whatever that a poor or older battery might cause, whatever issues that might cause with your phone, the reason that Apple implemented the slowdown of the phone is to mitigate that issue. If you want to turn that off in the new update that's coming out, you're going to have that option, which is, I think, good. Because I think it's good that Apple's giving people the choice, right? Don't Apple, I'll decide if I want to have what kind of experience I want with your phone. You don't need to decide. I wonder
what the impact in terms of your day-to-day usage of the phone is going to be. Like, if it's really going to be that big of an impact, like if it'll be a night and day improvement of performance.
Yeah.
Or is this really going to only hit people who, say, run benchmarks daily or like game or something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, because I haven't used a phone that has this, so I don't.
Yeah. Anybody who has an older iPhone and is missing the capabilities of what it once was able to do, please feel free to let us know in either a review or a comment on our Facebook page, or get in touch with us and let us know if this does have any kind of drastic improvement. And maybe even we can see if Kyle has anything to report on, because he has I think an older iPhone as well. So I'd be interested in seeing what happens as a result of this. But yeah, speaking of performance hits, anybody with a Chromecast has probably been wondering what's going on with their Wi-Fi. Well, now we know. They have Wi-Fi routers have begun to issue patches defending their products against the Chromecast devices. So it's not in the routers, but in the cast feature used in the Chromecast, Google Home, and other devices. And it sends the core of the issue is it sends multicast DNS packets as a keep alive functionality for connections to products like the Home and Chromecast. But someone forgot to turn that off when those products decide to go to sleep or aren't being used. So while they normally send in a 20-second interval, some of these devices have been reported to broadcast a large amount of these packets at a very high speed. So basically your Chromecast device is DDoSing your router.
Yeah.
So one person who discovered this issue noted that when they had suffered major speed hits on their Wi-Fi, but when they turned off their Chromecast and all the devices related to it, their speeds went back to a much more normal number, which is concerning. And I'm hoping to see a fix maybe on Google's side and the router's side. But the longer your device is in sleep, the larger the packet burst will be. So I guess the note is that every time you walk past your Google Home, yell something at it to trigger it, so that way it doesn't DDoS your network. So,
I want to be clear that I'm understanding this right. So this is just like building up an amount of packets to be sent, so that when it comes out of sleep mode, it just lets them all go at once.
It looks, when it's awakened from the sleep mode, it says it could exceed more than 100,000 packets in a short amount of time.
Because I know Ervin and I have discussed this. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Matt, about it before the show, but I've definitely seen some impact on my connection here at home.
Yeah.
All of this, and I have a home and a Chromecast both in use. So
yeah. I noticed the issues as well, especially when you're constantly. I've noticed it when you're constantly using an internet connection, like streaming video. Either watching Netflix or YouTube, I've definitely noticed where the connection would just stop and start to buffer. And I'm not very used to the buffering issues because I have a Fios, which has a gigabit connection. So I don't typically, I was like, why is this buffering?
I have the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like, it seems, I noticed it immediately because I haven't, ever since I have Fios now, that I don't expect any buffering to happen ever. Because of that high speed. So I noticed it immediately and kept happening more and more. And then I saw this article. A certain router manufacturers released updates to help with this. But Google is the one who finally admitted that this was an issue. And they released, supposedly, a new update to not the Google Home themselves, but Google Play services, which runs on Android phones in the background, that runs a lot of stuff behind the scenes, was apparently the culprit that was sending all these packets out. So I'm assuming if you had an iPhone, you really weren't affected by this because that's not running in the background.
Right.
So it looks like if you had an Android phone, and also all these home devices in your house, then you were affected by this.
Right, and also anybody who has a Linksys or a Netgear router, and even ASUS, at least for Linksys and Netgear, though there are firmware updates, and there's links to that in the register article that we have in the show notes. So anybody looking to update their routers, this is your weekly service warning from i4O to update your routers and your printers. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how this goes from here. And Google, like you said, Ervin, has committed an update and has admitted a problem. But I'm sure that there's going to be an update to Cast overall, because I have seen this before. I don't know if I've necessarily been able to specifically attribute it to Cast itself or not, but they did commit to a fix. So I'm hoping we'll see a fix not only from the Google Play services, but from Cast itself, if this is a larger issue impacting specifically those devices. Yeah. So if you have slow internet, try unplugging your Google Home. And maybe that'll work. Maybe not. So,
and for our last news item for this week, I thought if we put this in a little fun one. We don't typically talk about gaming, on this podcast, but I thought I would bring it up because I thought it was really cool. I don't personally own a Switch, but Nintendo has announced a new, I don't know what to call it, like a platform or a new way of doing DIY creations using the Switch, using pieces of cardboard, which on the surface may sound lame, but after watching the video, definitely it's something awesome I know you guys were watching it before the show.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's Nintendo's Labo, Project Labo or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know you have the video playing right now, and some of this stuff looks pretty sophisticated, like the piano that they will show in a little bit on the video, not to spoil it, but it's something that's really cool, and I could see this having huge implications for, say, like younger people who wanted to play games like this, like just kind of taking an existing product and adding functionality to it is really cool.
Yeah, and just by using the existing hardware, and then just adding a piece of cardboard that changes the way that you experience it, the way that you play games. Since the Joy-Cons is the main part that these use for the input, they have so much sensors within them that they can do this. So the samples that I'm showing in the video, there's that piano that you mentioned, Matt. There is this fishing rod where you can play a fishing game, and you actually move things around, and uses accelerometers within the Joy-Cons. There's this there's so many possibilities for doing all kinds of different things, and I hope that perhaps Nintendo might open source it so people can create their own, like they just take a piece of cardboard, they want to create something. I think that could be really cool, and it's really for kids especially, it should be really fun to actually play something within the physical world. I know Legos were kind of, I don't know how big they are now, but when I was a kid, Legos were huge. Like you could create something from scratch and use your own imagination, and this is sort of relating to that, using something in the physical world, but also bring that digital aspect of it to the Switch. Which are pretty awesome.
I want to see, like you were saying, I want to see how many third-party products come as a result, and now if they decide to even open this up to being able to be expanded on, or even giving some of them for free as a way, because that would be a smart move as well, to expose people to something on a format that's free, so that way they can see what the potential is for this themselves before investing in something like this, even if it is just buying cardboard. So
I would think that some games that they're going to come out with are going to have their own like packages that come with the game, right?
Yeah.
So that like if you play a racing game, you'd get your steering wheel and like pedals or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so right now they're releasing 2 different packs. The release is on April 20th of this year. So if I think it's available pre-order, but I can confirm that in a bit. But they're releasing 2 different packs. One's a variety pack, which includes the piano one, the fishing rod one. There's a house. I don't even know what that house one does. And that also includes the games. It includes the cardboard that goes along with it, where you have to build it. And then they have the robot kit, which is fairly involved. That has a robot game where you put it on this backpack, and it allows you to use your actual fist and mimic the movements of the robot within the game. And has this visor kind of thing that goes over your head. It seems pretty awesome.
It's almost like a virtual reality experience.
Yes. So those are the 2 packs that they're coming out initially on April 20th. But I'm interested to see what the future holds for this, and I think it's really innovative, for sure, and it's very different. And Nintendo has been known to do things very differently. I know the Wii was pretty different from every other gaming platform that came out during that same time, with the new control scheme, with the Wii controllers was quite different, and so this Nintendo Switch has been quite different take on gaming. Trying to make it portable and doing some innovation on the controller side of things. So I think this is just another step in Nintendo trying to innovate, and people are fairly receptive to this announcement, have been. And I know their stock had jumped quite a bit after this announcement, but it's good to see Nintendo still come out with new ideas and trying new things. And
there's no indication on pricing on any of this yet, is there?
I think there is. Let me
if you go through the link maybe on the video. But this is awesome. I'm excited to see some of the reviews that come out from this and where it goes with the industry in general. So
it looks like the pricing on variety kits at $69.99 and robot kits at $79.99.
That's some expensive cardboard.
It also comes with the games too.
Yeah.
So it's the software too. But yeah, it's just a piece of cardboard shirt. But
yeah, it's sophisticated to say the least.
Yeah.
Because when I saw in that video, there was a section of it where they cracked open the backpack and the piano, and you could see like the inner workings of it. And it looked like it was pretty complicated. So it's like a combination of you have to build this, and I pity every parent who has to go through the setup process for one of these pianos or robots.
You're also not just paying for cardboard. Like you're saying, it's a complex system. You also think about you're paying for the design of that system and the testing and the payment of employees and everything that goes into coming out with something.
Yeah, it's an out-of-the-box solution that works, even if it's cardboard coming out of the box instead of a product. But yeah, either way, I'm definitely excited for this, and I want to maybe I'll see if my roommate's interested in this, see if he wants to, see if I can try it out firsthand, or maybe if they have like demos or something set up at a store to try out. That'd be cool. But yeah,
go to a FedEx and get some cardboard and
i4O compatible Nintendo Switch games.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I think unless we have any other important bits of news to cover, I think that wraps up the episode. So to get into some of the information, just some of our show information, we stream this weekly on Sunday. This is the weekly news show. We have, when it's relevant and topical, we will have a deeper dive series that usually airs on Wednesday as well. We will not have one this week. We just don't want to force that kind of a topic. But you can access i4O on all of your favorite streaming platforms. You can find us on Podbean. You can find us on Podbean is at industry40.podbean.com. You can find us on Google Play and iTunes. We stream live weekly on Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. You can catch up on all of our latest news and information, whether it's just an informative bit of news about our podcast itself on Facebook or Twitter. And yeah, if you would like, it helps us tremendously to leave us a review on one of the various platforms, and we will, as a result of that, read your name out loud and kind of give you a shout out on the episode. It helps us get to more viewers, and it helps us increase our expandability and just deliver more information. And plus, we love reading the reviews as well. We have a couple on our iTunes as it stands, but we love more. So not to beg, but it does help us get more information out to help other people, and it helps us improve.
Leave us reviews. We see your downloads. Reviews, please.
We know you're listening. But yeah, also speaking of listening, you can enjoy all of the episode music on soundcloud.com/thejbones, produced in-house by our very own Jeff Budzinski. And also, as well, to add just a couple of other plugs, you can find some beautiful photography from our very own Ryan Thompson on Flickr at Wayne R. Thompson. His Instagram is WayneRyan21. And as well, I know Ervin does some photography as well, at Ervin.Lucas.
I haven't been posting that much lately, but stay tuned. There's stuff coming.
Well, you just got some nice new photos and with your fancy new camera.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I think with that, that brings about the end of the episode. So I think that's everything we got for today. So this has been episode 35 of i4O, and thanks for listening, everybody. See you guys next week. I was going to read that.